leadership reflect on digital transformation at Vistara by its Chief Information Officer as well as Chief Ethics Counselor, Mr. Vinod Bhat. And let me have the pleasure of introducing him formally. And those of you who happen to see, at least out of curiosity, his profile, right, what is visible in the public domain, by the way, I'm sure beyond this, there must be a lot of other things that we may not be knowing, but I'm sure it's quite illustrious and quite transformative in itself. Now, he's an award-winning technology and business leader with 30 years of industry experience. He's ranked among the top global CXOs, a frequent industry speaker, and an author and a motivational leader. Currently working as Chief Information Officer at Vistara Airlines, reporting into CEO, with additional role of Chief Ethics Counselor with board-level visibility. Worked with several CXOs over the last 21 years, driving digital transformations, managed P&L ownership, business strategy, and planning and sales. And also, responsible delivery operations with a deep understanding of the industry and global team dynamics. Worked across the globe for 15 years. And why I said illustrious is that most of his career he has been with Tata Group, out of which 28 years plus few months, right? He has been with the TCS in various roles. And since March 2021, right, he has been working with Vistara. And why I said also as to why illustrious is, his awards. I was just telling him before, we began this session. His awards itself run into almost about 300 pages. But let me have the pleasure of reading some of them, just to ensure that we don't leave out the most important one that are won by him and his team, obviously. His awards are IT Visionary Awards 2023 for Aviation Industry from Strategic Inc. CIO Access CIO 2023 Awards, Top 100 CIOs. Technology Excellence Awards 2023, CIO Innovation in Digital Transformation Aviation. On the advisory panel of Core Media for CIO Choice Awards 2023. Tech Circle Business Transformation Awards 2022, Competitive Edge Process Innovation, CIO 100 2022, the Innovative 100 from Foundry erstwhile IDG, CIO 100 2022 again, Special Award, Mobility Mavens from Foundry, presented by Samsung, and like I said, many more. And without further ado, let me invite Mr. Vinod Bhat for this wonderful lecture. And I'm sure, like I said, in the chat box, you'll have great actionable insights, especially those of you who are in digital transformation or at your own companies, or you're planning to get into this role. I'm sure you'll have great actionable insights from Vinod Bhat. Over to you, Vinod.
Okay, thank you. Can you hear me all? See me all?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Dr. Nagendra. So good evening, and thank you for joining on a Saturday evening. So I'm going to talk about broadly about the work which have we done at Vistara. But before that, I will also set the context. So fasten your seat belts for the next 60 minutes. Out of that, I think 35 to 40 minutes I will speak. And I will allow 15 to 20 minutes for questions. But if I am flying fast, so please don't hesitate to interrupt me. So the agenda is, the way I've set up the agenda is that we'll talk about, because COVID had played a very important role in the aviation sector. So how the new operating model has evolved, and what are the trends in the aviation industry, and what is the digital transformation strategy? Because I understand that one of the courses is focusing on digital transformation, and there is hardly any business which doesn't focus on it. So it will be good to understand that why it should be multidimensional. We'll talk about digital transformation at Vistara, definitely. But we'll also look at that, why do we see ourselves from here? Because this is what the industry is doing, but more importantly is that from here, what are the takeaways for all of you? So that's what we'll look at, the operating model from the fresh pair of eyes. Then let's see that what has COVID taught us? If you look at it, COVID has taught us that whatever was taking us years and months, we're talking about weeks, right? So whether it is ideation, you experiment, and then you industrialize it. And this trend hasn't stopped. And you take any of the business processes, I'm not talking only about aviation, I have worked in 15 plus industries. So every business process, every sub process is impacted positively for good, because the requirements can be captured quickly. You can actually show to the business, you can get the ROI, you can get the small projects approval, then asking for a 3-year project approval to the board and all. So this trend is good, that it has asked us the business agility as a service. And what it has also taught us is that every organization, when we are hit by the COVID, we had a plan to manage the whole COVID impact. But we also thought that let's step back and see that what are the other opportunities for us to create a midterm post-COVID plan. How do you recalibrate the demand? How do you accelerate the supply? How do you make sure that our service levels are not impacted? And it can vary from business to business. Here, I'm just setting up the context, what it is. And then, more importantly, is that COVID. Everybody thought that it is a one-off, which has happened in the industries. But it is going to stay, right? We are going to embrace the new operating model, new way of working. So the question was that how do we manage now all the entities, all the stakeholders, and there was every company had the long-term, post-COVID plan. So how is aviation industry changed? What are the key trends? I think aviation industry has been always banking on the customer experience, and it will come. It will be like this. And the question is that how do you make sure that we have the right cost value proposition? Because you can't be just pumping money and then not improving the customer experience and not also getting the ROI. Analytics and insights has played a very important role, particularly last 2-3 years when a lot of services have moved from offline to online. So the lot of decisioning is happening now on the insights. A lot of focus on sustainability. You would have seen that even Vistara has used that SAF fuel recently, sustainability, aviation fuel. So it will continue on that front. Also on the IT side, also there are many initiatives we are focusing on the sustainability and emissions, which will continue. And aviation is a very complex, landscape in terms of distribution, in terms of how the sales happen. So a lot of partners, OTAs and all, probably it will continue like that. And there will be always focus on the new fleets, new networks, capacity versus demand, which routes we should have the flights, which we don't have. And there will be always tie-up with, you would have seen many airlines, including Vistara, has announced a lot of partnerships. And while the whole new operating model, is getting finalized or stabilized, a lot of focus on the organization skills, capabilities, ways of working, data security, cyber security. I think it is given, and some of these trends are common for many industries, but some are very specific to the airlines. Okay, now when we talk about it, okay, as the CIOs, CDOs, CXOs, we feel that okay, do we need to look at our digital transformation strategy, and should it be one dimensional or should it be multi-dimensional? We'll look at it, what it means. So this is a regular balance, right? This is what the digital strategy can help actually really multi-dimensional balance. And I will talk about what do I mean when I say that, when I say it is what digital transformation strategy has to be multi-dimensional. See, when you start building the digital transformation strategy, you always think, oh, should I go to cloud? Should I not go to cloud? And again, there is no silver bullet. There is no one, size fits all. Now strategy fits all. So for example, BFS cannot move everything to cloud. They may be on the hybrid. They may be on the multi-cloud. And if the cloud goes down, what is the BCP, DRP strategy? It is part of the, digital transformation strategy. Availability is very important. Availability, flexibility, agility. I think this is what the COVID has taught us, these three terms. That you have to be available every time. You have to be flexible because you just can't be, investing a large infrastructure, large processes, large projects. And you should be, nimble. You should be agile. And in midst of it, what is the cost and what is the ROI? You have to keep your eyes on while you need to transform whether it is the customer side of it, supply side of it, B2B, B2C. You need to keep an eye on the cost and ROI because your CFO is not going to approve the projects. Security paramount, whether it is the data, info, cyber, GDPR, you name it. I think very important that you would have seen a lot of attacks are happening, malware attacks, ransomware attacks. Data management, very, very key for aviation as well as for other industries also. And how do you draw the insights, and how do you make sure your employees are better equipped with the right skills, and how do you get the collaboration tools like the Zoom we're using today, or even Teams, or even for that matter Google. How do you integrate the business processes as part of the tools so that the employees are much more productive? And how do you improve the customer experience? So that's why these are the dimensions of digital transformation strategy. And It varies from company to company, the degree varies, but broadly it's a multi-dimensional strategy. So what are the interventions which we have done at Vistara? If you look at it, and I have picked certain items which are publicly available also, so you can go to the site and understand a little bit better. I would say the first one was the e-tech log book, and some are under the approval from the government. But the concept I want to give you that what was driving it. So if you look at airlines, there are a lot of paper logs like technical log, cabin log, journey log, damage log, fueling log, and there are some of the examples here as you see here. So and it is very cumbersome to maintain. You might have seen that the pilots, the engineers are filling up the details while the whole boarding is going on. So a lot of those kind of details actually get filled up. So the idea was how to go paperless. So Vistara partnered with Ultraman ELB. So we created the paperless solution where we can basically capture the accurate data. We can improve the operational efficiencies. We can make the maintenance better. We can have better reliability, and the aircraft utilization can be far better, helping the sustainability as well. So this was the first intervention, which is again the industry first. And at the bottom of the slide, you will see that this story is available. You can go through more details and understand that how this intervention happened. Second one, which I have picked up, is the RFID aero check. What it is that, see, you have in the aircraft, you have a lot of emergency equipments, and you need to monitor the life, the expiry, the count, the inventory. And to do that, you have to basically manually count it. And sometimes it takes 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours. And some are there like these life jackets, right? So life jackets, when you have to really count, and it is mandatory as per the law that they have to be, every seat should have it. And sometimes these are misplaced or there is some issue. So how are you making sure that you can do it in a very efficient way? So we use the RFID technology. Again, we partnered with ASD company, Aerospace Software Development. And if you look at it, we were able to reduce the inspection from 6 hours to 15 to 20 minutes. And we could track the expiration of the emergency equipments which are inside, which is the first aid kit and other things, and while maintaining the highest safety standards. I think that was the second technology intervention effectively used for the business. We had other problem that if you look at it, when the engineers go for everyday work for at the aircraft, so there is a proper authorization process where they have to go through, and there are 5, 6, 7, 8 steps before they are actually approved. So we use the QR code technology, and it is faster, it is more accurate. You don't have to, the QR code is printed on the card itself, so they can actually find out by simple scanning whether the engineer is authorized to work on the aircraft. And this story is also covered here at the bottom. You can see it. I have given some interviews. You can probably go through more on this. This is the third intervention I talked about. See, the fourth, it is not an intervention, but it is the technology architecture which we have put, is that Vistara is one of the few airlines in the world which is on 100% cloud architecture infrastructure, because we are born on cloud and we are on multi-cloud. Okay. And which was very, very handy during the COVID as well as now. So where basically we can manage the cost better, we can have business continuity better, and we stay to remain agile and manage the fluctuating demand. As you know, that airlines are very, very dynamic industry in terms of the demand and supply as well. But we're not stopping here. We're also focusing on the security part of it, like the zero trust. We have already moved from endpoint detection and response to the extended detection and response, which is a lot more secure, and a lot more channels are covered, not one dimensional of security. We're also focusing on SASE, which is Secure as Service Edge. See, while people are talking about cloud, there is one more type of cloud which has come up, is 5G, sorry, Edge Cloud. And it works beautifully with the 5G, right? So there are many use cases where the edge and 5G can work together. For example, at the airports, you have a lot of thermal cameras. So there is no point for, and these cameras generate a lot of data. There is no point for these cameras to send this data to the cloud here. They can actually be served there exactly at the edge, and the decisions can be taken. There are other interventions also in the cloud, and here also we have a story. You can look at it, that what is the what is the rationale and how Vistara got benefited. There are other digital interventions. So where we roll out biometric solution for all employees. This one is important. This DigiYatra. I don't know how many of you have enrolled for DigiYatra. I would recommend that you please enroll for it. This is a new way of travel where your face becomes a boarding pass. So once you register, you don't have to show your boarding pass or ID anymore. You can just breeze from the airport to the literally to the boarding gate. So I encourage highly that, and we probably are the in terms of compliance very high. Vistara's compliance for the DigiYatra passengers. Touchless e-boarding, touchless self baggage drops, so you don't have to ask someone, you can just drop the bag. The many airports are getting, for example, Bangalore T2 is SBD. Similarly, we have developed apps where our cabin crew can have a better view of the customers who are traveling, particularly from the personalization to hyper-personalization, where they know that Vistara has loyalty program, right? Where we have got platinum customers, gold customers, what are their preferences, and how we can, service them better, right? We have also created an industry first solution called Qt in a Box, where it is common use terminal equipment. When you go to the airports, you will see the boarding passes getting generated right by the at the desk. So if the Qt link is down, we can actually Vistara can generate the boarding passes as well as the baggage slips of our own. And we have integrated the common user self-service. We also developed the 360 degree view of the customer, which is also called single customer view, but that is the backbone of any data AI related work. We also connected this 360 customer 360 degree with the end customer support end-to-end view, and we have put a lot of focus on low code, no code, platforms. So there are many more. I have listed a few of the interventions, and all these interventions have a proper business case, which where the businesses are getting benefited. Whether it is, for example, low code, no code, the forms which we are getting filled up manually, actually they can be filled up quickly. We have developed enterprise support tools where the employees can actually raise the complaints, and can be one view. HR can get into it, or even the businesses can get into it. So I think these interventions are continuing. We're also not stopping here. We're also looking closely at metaverse kind of VR AR technologies, where you can give the immersive experience to the customers. So there are certain challenges there, but there are few business use cases also, where you talk about the customer experience, where you can show them the seats. They can actually explore new tourist destinations. Let's imagine that if somebody has to go to the New York or Paris, and they don't have time to go to, probably through this digitally immersive experience metaverse, you can make them travel to that place. They can actually take pictures, they can get a feel of the flight, they can get everything, probably sitting in the comfort of their home. And also the in-flight experience, you may be aware that Vistara has in-flight entertainment also. How do you customize that, and how do you bring some of the immersive technology tools there? A lot of use cases on training and simulation for metaverse. So there are various scenarios. For example, when the trainings are given by the pilots or to the maintenance engineers, so they can actually get a feel of it. Like this is the MRO for the engineers, and there can be lot of operational check also done through metaverse. So okay, I will keep the questions probably at the end, because I will have those 20 minutes. We're also focusing on or looking at it from the generative AI perspective, where we can look at whether bring more customer experience in a human-like conversations, right? Natural conversation. But it is not yet matured. So, but I just want to give you an idea that how a traditional bot, chat bot, conversational bot, and what is the difference? Because typically you have got the decision tree on the left hand side, where whatever questions you ask, but the keywords matches, it gets answered. But in this case, it will be more on the large language models, the whole NLP, whole ML, where you can give much better experience. But it is just getting matured like Chat GPT or the Bard, but both have a lot of implications. So we're just watching it and looking at it, that how these technologies can be useful from the customer service perspective, particularly feedback, because a lot of feedback you get And in the traditional, it is a very point-to-point feedbacks, not collated. I believe that this can help us to connect the dots and have meaningful, actionable feedback very quickly, which can help organizations like us to take action. Because if somebody has, for example, on a social media, somebody has raised a complaint about it, about any of the services, then you can actually collate quickly. You don't have to wait for that NPS. You don't have to wait for any other feedback. You can actually take and look at the sentiment analysis. You can look at that what actions the businesses can take, and it can really move the needle fast, and it can have a lot more human-like conversations. So far what we have seen is we have seen that the COVID has taught us that this everything is as a service. It has the short span of time. There are a lot of improvements which have happened in the newer operating model. A lot of aviation trends, especially from the customer point of view, have changed a lot. A lot of services have moved from offline to online. There are a lot of interventions already happening. And when we are building, all the CXOs, CDIOs who have been asked to build the digital transformation strategy, they have been asked to look at the multiple dimensions. We looked at it. So every dimension, I have full details, but I just give the summary that why it has to be seen from all the angles. And we also talked about the key interventions which are happening at Vistara or happened at Vistara or which are upcoming. But does it end here? Does it end here? Let's look at somewhat, some different fresh look at this new operating model. And why it is important, because most of you are pursuing your MBAs. So this will probably also give you the perspective that where do we fit in and what are the things I need to worry about. While is it a technology thing, is a business thing? So this flavor will be, this part of the presentation will help you with that. So if you look at it, I don't know how many have observed the sadhu's value chain or the technology chain. If you look at it, they have started using technology, right? And it has gone to multiple levels. And trust me, they also have a maturity model. We talk about in technology maturity model, but they also have gone through that phase. And what did you observe? You observe that there is literally a technology nirvana. People are talking about that, they can use technology as an enabler. Technology has to stay connected. Technology has to make a difference. So it is happening. And all of us have seen that software also has gone through the same, if you look at it. So whether it is on-site offshore model, agile, and new way of doing it, digital age, the bottom line is that there is no one who is going to be left out, who can afford to be left out from this whole digital disruption which is happening. Even sadhus can't escape from it. So you need to be a person who understands what it is, and you need to be probably in this zone which you can communicate well as the business leaders, that how technology can be the best enabler for us. So I have just devised an ICC model, and many people think it is International Cricket Council, but the answer is no. It is the industry, consumer, and company. So if you look at broadly, I have simplified this model that there are only three things we need to worry about. Industry, how it is changing, and this industry can be anything, any industry you are going to work in. And a few examples are there for the industries. Can be beverage, tobacco, it can be, and the consumer is the second side, which is the person who is going to consume it. And also customers also have put there, and users have put there. And companies are like enterprise, which are this enterprise. But there is something which is connecting them. And who is the stakeholder which is going to connect, who understands the industries better, who understands the customer side of it better, who understands the companies better? Who is the stakeholder? And many people think we need a Sadhguru to translate it. But it is not true, because you can't get him everywhere. So what you as a consultants need to do? So let's first understand these dimensions. See, if you look at industry, how it has changed. Industry 4.0, I'm sure many of you would have read that we talked about cloud, automation, big data, IoT, air, VR, robotics, cybersecurity. But what happened? Did it stop there? No. We talked about metaverse, edge. We talked about the data privacy, decentralization of cloud. I talked about the edge. I talked about the zero trust network access. I talked about SASE. But is it stopping here? No, it is not stopping here. It is ChatGPT is going on. It is basically beyond Google search. It is ransomware as a service. I was actually amazed to know that there are today ecosystem in the industry where you can actually run ransomware as a business. And if you look at it now, everybody has to go to the drawing board and see that, is this my industry, my job getting impacted, and what are the new phases of security threats. But where does it end? Is this industry going to end here? No, it's not going to end. It's going to continue. Same thing if you look at consumer pre-COVID was offline, online, buyer meets where the seller is, and standard brand stickiness, right? During COVID, what happened? A lot of things moved online. Omni-channel experience started, personalization started, digital payments, a lot of UPI payments all of us use, and there was cost and convenience. Post-COVID, what happened? Every transaction is an experience. So people don't want to compromise on the experience. Everything is an experience. You want to pay something is an experience. You want to travel is an experience. You want to get any service is an experience. And we are talking about conversational commerce. People are saying that we don't want to go into apps again and again. There are no more apps needed. We want to be where we are. We want to be in the messaging platforms, and we want to go to an hyper-personalization mode. Hyper-personalization is where you have got a segment of one, right? That means where the offerings, the solutions, the services are meant for me. I don't care about that if there are 100 people in that segment, but I care about, for me, give me that offer, give me that service, give me that which is relevant for me. I think that's important from consumer point of view. Enterprises, what they were doing, there was a standard operating model, there was optimized demand and supply, everything was going on well. There was brand promotions happening online, offline channel. During COVID, what happened? Huge impact on supply chain, right? The demand got dropped, supply was there. So what happened to that inventory? People started building the short-term, mid-term solutions, products, and there was more focus on online, but limited marketing happened. And cyber security came as a new focus area because people started connecting online more. So it became a lot more important than all the enterprises, employees, customers, consumers actually are covered from the security point of view. And I gave you perspective today about this new operating model, right, with a new focus. But this operating model has to be used as a competitive advantage, competitive strategy with new products, new services. And how do these services get consumed, right? And what is my consumer strategy? What is my channel strategy? How is AI data getting integrated with it? And AI or ML has to play a role in moving from a reactive to proactive to predictive model, right? In terms of decisioning, that is where companies are looking at it. Before you react, companies should know that what is going on. If somebody has lost the bag, and by the time they call the call center, they should exactly know that what happened to this customer. So there is where it's moving. Same thing. It's about starting a new route, airline or route. So then you need to make sure that you have the right data to take that decision. So this will continue on the company side also. So if you look at it, the important glue is actually sitting here, and this glue is basically the executives who are running the or aspiring to integrate the industry, the consumer, company, build those digital strategies, build those business strategies, build those marketing strategies, build those service strategies, or even infrastructure strategies, whatever your role is. But it is important to have the entire view and come up with your short-term plan, mid-term plan, long-term plan, and more importantly, the ROI. Because board will not give you money if you are not able to deliver, for example, in 6 months, for example, in 4 months, 9 months. So that ROI in line with the business strategy, ROI in line with the digital transformation realization, ROI in line with the employees productivity. So ROI in line with the cyber security, ROI in line with the cloud strategy. So this is the role of the, I would say, consultants, executives, you name it, and you need to basically leverage that. So if you know the role now, I know the role now. So what should I do now? How do I pitch it? Do I understand what a CXO, CEO, how do they think? How do they make the charters? So it's important. I have included 1 or 2 slides which will give a perspective that how do you think like a CXO? Because before I go and meet a CXO, I need to understand that how a CXO is thinking. See, this is important, that when you are having a CXO conversation, you need to think like a CXO. It means before you reach to that CXO, do a sufficient research about that CXO, about that stakeholders, Make sure you have a stakeholder management where you have got the relationship mapping done very well. You ask the right questions and you present to influence and know when to stop. You should really be not ready with, oh, I need to cover 10 PPT slides, so I got only 15 minutes, let me cover it up. But it's important that you listen to the CXO and you go with well prepared, you ask the right questions, and maybe see their the annual results, their quarterly results, where they are doing well, and you have to always wear the customer hat, and then you can have those conversations will be more meaningful. Many times you have to, we say that elevator pitch, right? One minute elevator pitch. If you happen to meet a CXO in an elevator, in 1 minute, how do you position yourself, your offerings, your solutions? I think that's also very important from the power messaging perspective. Okay. See, this is a real, I have masked some of the names and all. This is how the CXOs or CEO organizations make. They have got vision, they have got ambition, they have got priorities, they have got really outcomes, and what the promise they have in terms of IT or otherwise, and from transformation journey, what do they have, what behaviors they are exhibiting. So when you are looking at thinking like a CXO, you need to really wear these hats and say that it's not only about maybe IT operation, it may be also about the behavior, how courageous we are in giving the solutions, how can we do an inclusive pitch along with the partners, how do we take the risks, and how do you position at one IT team or one team, what are the ways of winning. So you keep these aspects in mind when you are thinking like a CXO. So I think this is my last slide, and I will leave rest 20 minutes of this for the Q&A. So I talked about that business technology context is very important because it is changing. You need to understand the new operating model and do not think about, oh, I am going to go to the pre-COVID, or what happened to me, my skills are gone, I need to I had learned one way of doing business, now it is different, technology has changed. So you need to embrace the change, and use operating model is going to stay, it's not going to go back, and probably it will have some more variations. And as I said, that multiple dimensions important. Risk you need to cover, business continuity you need to cover, the cost, ROI, security, agility, flexibility, all the dimensions which we talked about. So we need to look at it. And one size strategy doesn't fit all, because what works in BFS may not work in insurance, what works in automobile may not work in airlines. So you need to understand that, so the variations will be there. But you have to always see that how a technology can be enabler for business. So business hat you have to wear. Don't start with the technology, because every time you have technology choices, you will be really confused, because every area there are hundreds of vendors providing you service, hundreds of vendors. And you should not start with the, let me put an CRM in place, let me put ERP in place, let me put success factors, SAP, Salesforce. Don't start from there. Look at what organization looks at, what are the key criteria, what is the sizing I have to do. Will this product be good enough? Is it cost wise is fine, security wise fine, integration wise it's fine. All those questions you need to answer yourself. And you need to use this digital transformation strategy as a differentiator. So when I say differentiator, that means you need to devise algorithms for yourself. You need to come up with unique product and services. You need to come up with value-added services. You need to come up with services which are helping improving customer experience or employee experience. You need to come up with services which are where the customers can trust, particularly from the data strategy perspective, right? And you need to know that how to engage with the CXOs. It is very important. You need to know that what that pitch is. Because earlier, when the sales people used to meet, they used to tell, oh, this weather is not good in, say US, in India. The conversations were like that about cricket, and all those days are gone. And CXOs are very smart. When they know that the salesperson is unprepared, you will not get the next meeting. But good news is that there are so many opportunities right now. Enough opportunities where you can actually play in the center court. If there is any time to make an impact for the company, for yourself, it is now. There's no better time than this. And there is no question of whether you need to have 50 years, 40 years, 30 years, 20 years of experience. Trust me, the digital leaders are ranging from 5 to 10 years of experience, even 3 years of experience. So have that confidence that I am experienced enough to drive strategies, drive the give presentations to board CEOs and build that strategy which will make a difference to all the stakeholders. So I'll take a pause here. So back to you, Dr. Nagendra.
Thank you so much, Vinod. I think it's like you said in the beginning, you really flew with your presentation. Very good. We have a few questions, and with your permission, let me read out to you. The first one, not so much as a question, but then nevertheless, I think he had a point to make. I mean, this is from Mr. Gunjan Quatra, and his perspective is, hello, sir, GE. Since you have 100% cloud infra in Vistara, I think he's meaning some connect there.
So completing the question, if the airlines works at 100% capacity, do you think if on-premise could be long run, could prove to be more cost effective compared to on all cloud? See, this cloud is it's a double-edged sword, right? If you provision your infrastructure and don't know how the demand and supply is working, you are actually going to bleed on the cost side. So this, as long as you're able to manage the infrastructure well, utilization well, and you can provision on time, I think there is nothing wrong with having 100% cloud infra, but it's a multi-cloud. It is not one cloud. So you keep on getting the better cost, quotes from the every vendor, and looking at the security and other aspects also. So on-premise, again, as I said, it is not one size fits all. So BFS will not move to everything to on cloud. Some of the stringent industries won't move. So it's like that.
Thank you. And this is a question from Mr. Vijay Kumar Kudur, and his question is, hi Vinod, are you using digital twin-based solutions anywhere or any plans of using it? Thank you, Vijay.
Yeah, digital twin has a great use case in the engineering side. So where you can actually you can help in the maintenance side of it. You can train your engineers. You can get the training or effectiveness, or don't have to digital twin of a part of an aircraft. It's very useful. So yes, in the future, yes, we are going to work on it, and we are working with the OEMs like the Airbus and Boeing type of it. It has huge use case.
Very good. This is a question from Mr. Nishant Ranjan. His question is, hi, with the current approach on digitalization, how Vistara has moved on consumer care handling in terms of customer effort reduction. Hope contact ratio would have also decreased. Since Vistara is one of the most preferred airline, how Vistara has worked on self-help model for customers. Thank you, Nishant.
Yeah. See, Nishant, if you look at it, we have moved from a lot of touchless services. I talked about self-baggage drop. I talked about Digi Yatra. I talked about e-boarding. Those are all the services where the customer effort is reducing. And some are indigenous, some are working with the government organization. Similarly, if you look at our contact center, it is completely integrated today with the customer 360. So customer doesn't have to spend a lot of time in explaining the case. So yes, this will be a constant endeavor to make sure that the customer experience, customer effort, self-service tools are much more given to the customers, like from the chatbot, and we talk about ChatGPT also. It will continue on the journey, Nisha.
Thank you, Vinod. This is a question, I think he has a valid point here. This is from Mr. Sandeep Sharma. His perspective, or maybe a question, is that had read about an incident where an employee lost his life as a staircase was removed and this person fell from the aircraft to the ground. Any digital or foolproofing solution to prevent such incidents? Thank you, Sandeep.
Sandeep, this airline is driven by SOPs. So when we the technology can be useful, it can be useful, but more importantly is that there has to be a stringent SOP followed, which will help in making sure that these such incidents don't happen. But yes, there can be sensor-based technologies also, which can help to detect if if the employee is inside, outside, or there can be an RFID-based solutions also. But it is more focus will be on the SOPs, which need to be followed, because SOPs are everywhere in airlines, and our job is to digitize as much as we could. But the overall regulatory framework encourages a lot, and compliance frameworks encourage a lot on the SOPs.
Thank you. This is a question from Mr. Vandita Tripathi, and her question, we know is, hi, in this era when any digital transformation projects are multi-year, how did you ensure to deliver ROI in 6 months or 9 months? What different was done in Vistara, and what do you recommend? Thank you, Vandita.
Yeah, see, Vandita, as I said in the first thing, what COVID has taught us? COVID has taught us be agile, make the short cycles. You ideate, you experiment, and you industrialize. I think that is what the concept is. So you try to, even 6 months probably is a long duration now, but you need to break depending on the project. You need to break and come up with a tangible ROI. You need to have it, because before you get the approvals for the project, you need to explain this to the board and the CFO and convince them this is how we can actually get the ROI. And same cases for Vistara also. So we have broken down the whole strategy like that, and look at the incremental values which is going to bring, because you can't rock the boat in one go. And though that was the earlier strategy, but now you need to have this incremental value delivery system.
And this is again a question from Mr. Gunjan Quatra, and his question is: what can be the three topmost business enablement areas where digital transformation are of great help? Thank you, Gunjan.
See, if you ask me if there are top three, one is definitely customer experience, where the whole customer engagement, I think digital transformation can be beautiful there. Second is the complete data and cyber security. I think, which is, though it is behind the scenes, it's second one which is very important, because again, particularly for the industries where you need to have compliance, where you need to make sure that you can't even violate a single thing, right? And third is the employees. I think many times we fear, we ignore or we don't count them as the stakeholders. But trust me, employees are the new customers. I don't know how many people have heard about it. Because if you are not aware, particularly in the airline where employees are represent your enterprise, they have to be equipped with the latest and greatest tools, processes, digital skills. Their quotient has to be very high, because the customers are much more aware today, right? If customer is asking a question about, boss, are you on a chat GPT, our employee cannot be in a situation that, oh, I can't answer. So yes, customer experience, customer engagement, completely data, cyber security, thus the employee related area, complete HR.
Thank you, Vinod. This is a question from Mr. Shamit Garg, and his question is: hello, sir. Thanks for fantastic insights. All this new initiative needs money allocations. How Vistara allocated budgets for digital transformation, and what were the performance metrics? Kindly highlight few pointers on the same. Thank you, Shamit.
Hi, Shamit. I think we all have to understand that new operating model is the only way to do business. There is no other way. So if you have to stay in the business, stay relevant to the business, create a differentiation, these projects are must. That is given, that is the context, right? Then now you have to break it up. Okay, boss, how we should approach? I talked about multi-dimensional strategy. This exactly you need to find out which dimension is critical for me and which projects I should put in. And then you put on top of it the lens of agility, the short cycles, and come up with a roadmap and say that for this, for example, FY24, in first quarter, what I need and what is my measure. Your same question is, how do you measure the metrics? Absolutely, you need to be bang on the key metrics, whether it is business related, technology related, cost related. And you need to convince and do a lot of proof of concepts before you venture into it. Because a lot of vendors are today, very much collaborative, service partners, very collaborative in creating those solutions, where you can actually do those POCs, POVs also, and you can actually go back to the board. You know what? I did this. We have got this initial results, and we are okay to put money on this and track it. And yes, sometimes things can go wrong also. You need to course correct quickly and move to the next one. What are the next best option? Because it is not only about putting the money, it's also about the learning, also about the risk you need to take, because the risk appetite has to be a little bit more. And as leaders, you need to be able to explain to the non-technical stakeholders that what it means to be ahead in the game from the digital transformation perspective. So it is, you have to be convinced yourself, you have to have that belief that this is going to be a differentiation for my business, this is going to be a differentiation for my employees, customers. Then you stand up, talk about it, you will get the money allocation done.
Absolutely. So this is a question from Mr. Rajesh Chaudhary, and his question is: how ZTNA has been planned and implemented before and after COVID it was taken care. Thank you, Rajesh.
Yeah, see, Rajesh, zero trust network access is actually a journey every organization go through, and we're also going through the same. I talked about that. We have moved from a typical ADR to XDR, the whole access management, how it is done, the whole firewalls, how we are managing this. So it is basically, you look at there is two things which you need to worry. One is, which are the existing tools I have got? Have I got the best in class tools from the fitment perspective, not from the cost perspective? I think you need to understand that very well, that what are my boundaries and what is my segmentation, micro segmentation of my networks applications. Do I have only silver, gold, bronze applications? And how do you put that zero trust around that? I think that's a journey. It's a long-term journey. It is at least 1 to 3 years journey. It can't happen overnight, because it becomes, that maturity will take time. And every organization today needs to do that, because of the cyber security alarms, because of malware attacks, because of so many things that are happening. So it's a journey, and we're also enjoying this ride.
Thank you, Vinod. This is a question from Mr. Sagar Mistry. And his question is, today, airline industry is struggling for their survival. How the new digital updates investments have been convincing to management by justifying the ROIs, as delay in investment will delay the digital transformation. Thank you, Sagar.
Yeah, I think, Sagar, it is related to the earlier question which I was answering. You are absolutely right. Airline is a cutthroat business. It is an industry which is moving very fast, very dynamically. You need to keep your eyes on the cost always, service always, demand always, weather always, compliance always, partners. So you need to keep that thing always there. But as I said, that when the airlines are embarking on the journey, this whole digital transformation strategy is very, very important. And I talked about that. How do you convince? And you cannot ask for millions of dollars in one go. You need to break down this into multiple dimensions, multiple phases, and talk about what this ROI is. You may not have answer to the ROI immediately, but get the stakeholders on the one table. Get the stakeholders where you have got partners, business, service partners, and ask these questions. Why should I do it? Tell me, what is the ROI next 3 months, 4 months, 6 months? How does it improve my maturity of the organization? How does it help me in the differentiation? And every organization has the priorities, the value system, the vision. So you can actually connect the dots. And when you are presenting to the board, you can tell them that these investments are in line with our strategy, in line with our goals, in line with our vision. And these are my checkpoints, my interventions, where I can actually reap the benefits of this. I think it's, again, as I said, that if people have not done it before to this extent, the people who stand by that belief and have done good homework for that, I think they have better chance to get these investments approved.
Thank you, Vinod. This is a question from Geeti Sri Baisha. And her question is, hi, sir, good evening. As Vistara is a growing airline, can you share your vision on digital transformation for fleet or aircraft maintenance?
Yeah, see, Vistara is actually, it's a business, it's a game of aircrafts. Also important, because if you look at, you need to make sure that you have got latest and greatest of aircrafts, and that helps to actually integrate the data, the maintenance part of it. I think we talked about digital twins, the training part of it. So while we can always focus on the transformation which is in your hands, but there are a lot of things which are driven by the OEMs, like, as I said, Boeing, or even Airbus and all. So that will continue, and you have to work collaboratively with that and create a vision which is, again, unique for you, because still there will be a lot of things which are in your hand. For example, loyalty is in your hand, right? Which, if you have a program, the customer experience in your hand, lot of data you can work for the customer as well as employee. So you will have that in your hand. Like I talked about the whole QR code approval which is happening for the engineers, for the aircraft maintenance. Your question is that you have got RFID, which was not there earlier. So it will be a two-pronged strategy. What you can do, what your partners can do, or your OEMs can do, and it will continue.
Thank you. This is a question from Mr. Praveen Charakara, and his question is there any industry standard on what should be the first process to be digitized? Thank you, Praveen.
Yeah, Praveen, I love this question. I wish there was a silver bullet. Unfortunately not. So you have to pick your own battles. Only guidance I can give is that look at which dimension is important for you. And when you look at dimension, that may help you, or which business process is critical for you. For example, if you are a customer facing and you want to make a difference there, look at that particular process end to end and get that process addressed. you will see that is the impact it will have a lot more, because if customer has a lot of issues, or employees have a lot of issues, or even your partners have issues, you pick your process, and that will be varying from company to company.
This is a question from Mr. Venkata G, and he says, "Thank you, sir. What's a Vistara's strategy to adopt new platforms, technologies by Vistara employees?" Thank you, Venkata.
Yeah, Venkata, there are two aspects of it. One is I talked about that how do you train your employees as well. So we have got a digital center of excellence, which is led and constantly scouting for technologies. I talked about low code, no code. I talked about the AR, VR. I talked about the analytics. So they actually keep making sure that those platforms are built, those technologies are built, and the trainings are happening to the employees, and which help to go there, make sure their digital quotient goes up, and the adoption is very high. And wherever we have issues on the training side of it, and that we cover through the skill training and all that.
This is the question from Mr. Divakar B, and his question is: any key challenges you faced in or after implementing newest technologies, and how did you overcome as part of your digital transformation journey? Thank you, Divakar.
Divakar, wherever you have dependencies on the third party or OEMs, and if they change the dates, if their product is not ready, their platforms is not ready, then your program also gets delayed, right? So, and fortunately, unfortunately, airlines is a SaaS based providers, so software as a service provider. So you have got an ecosystem which is not a typical enterprise ecosystem. So you will have to work with these partners, and if there is a slippage there, you may also have to bear. But there is a good governance. You can cover address, get it address, and so that you don't completely derail from your digital transformation journey.
And this is a question from Mr. Nishant Ranjan Vinod, and his question is: your current loyalty program helped Vistara to retain the old customers? And currently, is there any threat from OTAs as they are putting or giving more promotion coupons to customers to retain with them? Thank you, Nishant.
See, Nishant, every enterprise has its own customer engagement strategy, which includes your loyalty, your retention, your service, everything. So you don't per se go with whether I should survive because of this or not. I think it has got its own strategy points. So that's what we're also doing. For example, what loyalty program we have got, others have different ways of addressing that. So I think we're more focusing on how do I strengthen our processes, how do we listen to the customers we have got, and if there are queries, if there are questions, if there are complaints, if we have got 360-degree view of the customers, I would say I would prefer that we continue to focus on that. While there will be competition, there will be partners who are going to bring a lot of changes as per their strategies. I think there's a good I would say ecosystem where the customer gets end-to-end benefit, but from our perspective, we'll continue to focus and strengthen our customer engagement strategy.
The question from Mr. Nitin Chaudhary again. What is the success? He has two questions, Vinod. One is, what is the success ratio of implementing a digital transformation? And the second question is how to convince my client on the budget allocation for transformation. Thank you, Nitin.
Okay, I think I would probably put the second question first, and first one's the last. I think I answered to many questions. It is first, you have to be convinced before you go to the client and say that this is how you should allocate the budget. How you will be convinced is purely on if you have done a homework on, looked at the complete business model, complete process, complete sub processes, what we are trying to do here. I think you should not worry about technology. Worry about what is business trying to do. Are they going to increase their throughput? Are they going to get more customers on the website? Are you going to make the employees better, productive? What is that you want to do? Every company, as I said, is different. If you are able to do it, then you find out which technologies are the right fit for that, right? Work with the partners, work with the ecosystem, and you will not have all the technologies in your enterprise. You have to be very open to engage with the ecosystem and spend time in making sure that you have got done good POC, POE of the technology. And if possible, have those partners also, if you feel, they can also be part of that presentation when you are trying to get the budgets allocated. It will give confidence to the stakeholders that it's not mere a statement, but these people have done it. They have been able to do a pilot. They have been able to show the ROI there. there is no harm in giving them budget for next 3 to 6 months, but they will keep a close eye. So you need to keep delivering that ROI on incremental basis, and that's how you can achieve that technology nirvana I talked about. So I think it is that process. Success ratio is it will depend on how much homework have you done. If you are shooting in the dark, you may not have any success at all, but your chances of getting digital transformation into a successful one is the more homework you do, the more POCs you do, the more risk identification you do and mitigation you have to do, and more awareness you bring into the enterprise about it, the more chances are there for it to succeed.
And the second last question for today evening, we know that your permission is, this is from Mr. Rajarshi Pal. And his question, Vistara is merged with Air India into single entity as part of Tata. What's the technology platform merging strategy? I don't know if there was one ever,
Rajri, we are today two different entities. We will be getting merged only officially by March of 24. So I cannot comment on that right now.
Okay. And today evening, maybe the last question for today evening session, this is from Sandeep Sharma. And his question is, what are career opportunities in digital transformation and airlines for freshers? Which professional courses would be useful to them to start their careers? Thank you, Sandeep.
See, there are, if it is airlines or even otherwise also, see, good news is that a lot of these digital technologies are horizontal technologies. When you have, knowledge about, say, AI, ML, data, insights, infrastructure, security, they're all horizontal. So it's not, and they're part of all digital strategies only. While industry element can be there, of course, in airlines, you need to know that how the commercial is working, how the flight operations are working, how the engineering is working. Absolutely. So there are career opportunities are everywhere. Let me tell you that. So as long as you are wearing that hat every time, that how is technology is helping, how is going to help, what are the key interventions happening in the industry, I think you can actually make career out of it. And you need to be staying relevant. You need to make sure you are upskilling yourself, reskilling yourself, learning and unlearning. I think you will have a tremendous opportunity, and there will be always new technologies knocking our door every day. So the survival of the fittest is that how do I make sure that I am relevant? Am I redundant? You need to keep asking the questions. Even after spending probably 30 years in the industry, also we also every day we read, right? We also study. It's more about that. So you need to have that passion for technology and how it is helping the business. And there are a lot of professional courses, which I'm sure that Dr. Nagendra can help you. But you can start depending on the services. There are verticals also in digital transformation. You can be a supply chain expert. You can be a AIML, data analytics expert, data scientist. So there are many options which you can pick and choose.
Thank you so much, Vinod. I think it's been a really pleasure having you, and I think showcasing the entire canvas of digital transformation edifies as such, but also at Vistara, specifically. I'm sure those people, those of our participants who visited and who travel in the recent times by Vistara, they would say for all the said. Of course, they won't have, they cannot be commenting on what is internal to the company, especially to the company, the employees and things like that, your staff. But otherwise, it's been a great session, especially with all the 4 dimensions that you painfully or maybe very thoughtfully curated, right? I think it's a very, very good canvas. I think that not only told us about and the good thing about the positioning of the Vistara there in the 3 dimension, and after this, being the third one, that actually became the connecting rod between because I think for a lot many people it is just a ornamental thing, right? Because right now it is in thing, digital transformation, like you rightly said, there are a lot of IIMs, a lot of IITs, and in fact now it has become a standardized elective itself in most of the MBA programs, right? But largely they teach at the strategy level, but not so much at the the technology level. But I think what there are a few programs definitely which actually integrate both of them. But your lecture actually was both of them in one sense. So thank you so much from all of us, Vinod, and really appreciate your time, especially on a Saturday evening. And from all of us and all of our partners, participants, thank you once again for your time. I look forward to hosting you very soon for another interesting digital transformation initiative, maybe at Vistara or any other group companies within now the growing Tata Group.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And thanks all for listening to me patiently. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you so much. Thanks.